Alan Moffitt, a quite electric time at a 61.76. Fury only 600ths of a second faster than Brock, as they're now well and truly in the starter's hands. 10 seconds only remain, and Johnson only a 100th of a second faster than Peter McLeod, who was 5th. They're underway, and it's a good start from Moffitt, but can the V8s blast through? And they get away badly. Johnson badly is 6th. Brock is 3rd, though. Fury and Moffitt argue at the front. Moffitt wins the fight. Brock wants a way through on Fury, can't find it. We've got Cullen 4th, McLeod 5th, Johnson 6th, Harris 7th, Richards 8th, Keogh 9th, Lusty 10th, with this man leading. 4th only in the championship from a 3rd at Sandown with a car that was spilling oil and a non-finish, a non-start, in fact, in Tasmania. The cold loop at the back, the top of the circuit. Now, over that crest and the longest straight on the circuit. Moffitt leads by 0.8 of a second over Fury.
And here comes Johnson down the straight, trying to make up ground from the back of the field.
And it's a big break by the leading 3-2.
Johnson up in a 5th position. Peter McLeod right behind him.
Well, Cullen, Johnson and McLeod in 4th, 5th and 6th are falling away from the leading trio, and they indeed are pulling away a touch from 7th place Andrew Harris, who heads Jim Richards. And this man's making a jolly good break at the early stages. Larry Perkins, the Marlborough Holden dealer team manager, said Peter Brock will run the first couple of laps in 62s, the next 10 in 63s, and from then we'll stretch out to 64s.
Moffitt back to Brock, 2.2 seconds.
And to Fury, 1.2. So Brock a further second behind Fury. McLeod through on Johnson. Can he hold him? And he does. Johnson, you'll see him in the distance, has fallen to 6th. Peter McLeod in the yellow Slick 50 Mazda has come up to 5th. So Johnson's car not really running very well, nor I suspect is this one running as well as he'd like. On the other hand, Howard Marsden, the Nissan team manager, said that he thought Fury's car was the only car around this track that could possibly stay with Alan Moffitt. He didn't think the V8s could do it. Fury only a second in arrears to Moffitt now.
And Moffitt's pit crew holds out a sign to him that says pump, P-U-M-P. Now what in goodness name it means, I'm blown if I know, except perhaps that he should be turning on an auxiliary oil pump inside the motor car.
The blanket over the first 3 is 1.8 seconds. There's 4th, 5th and 6th place Johnson. 7th place was Andrew Harris. Brock stalking Fury fairly effectively, but Fury just falling a touch from Moffitt. Bluebird that replaced an engine after the first practice session yesterday and a turbo after the second session when he won himself second grid position, but the very next lap cost Fury a turbocharger. Alan Moffitt doing this from Peter McLeod, who goes to the outside. His only chance there is to get a good line through the corner and a duck back and try and come out tighter and out-accelerate him. Dick Johnson, 6th, will not be happy. The Cicchelli S's. This Peter McLeod's best effort so far. He's qualified 9th in both the previous rounds. Didn't finish at Sandown, got hit in the Andrew Harris accident and then up the tail and then into the fence. The first corner on the first lap. Finished 4th at Simmons. Today he qualified very well in 5th place.
Here he comes, challenging the Holden up the hill.
And on the wrong side, though, for the run into Kodak corner. No, the
It'll
right
be
side,
a braking
sorry.
duel.
Got him.
And Peter McLeod takes over from Warren Cullen, but only just. And the grunt of the big V8 Holden Commodore shows out again as they come down to Castrol Loop, and he covers his corner well. Johnson takes advantage of this duel to close the gap on Peter McLeod, but not having a good time through the S's. Johnson's problem is his tyres. He's on the last set of 19-inch Dunlop slicks available in Australia. He has to get more built for him in Japan before the next round of the Australian Touring Car Championship in Surfers Paradise. This circuit is notoriously hard on tyres, and especially on a big car like Johnson's. Perhaps he's hanging back at the moment to give himself some tyre condition for the last few laps. The leaders now. Alan Moffitt already through. There goes George Fury, followed by Peter Brock. 4th, 5th and 6th we see now coming up the main straight. McLeod looking for a way through. Won't do it there on the outside. And he's desperate to get through because Cullen is really blocking him.
Well, each using the particular strengths of their cars there very well. Cullen able, with the squirt down the straight, able to head McLeod into the corner. McLeod having to sacrifice the entry to the corner to try and clamber underneath him, either in the corner or on the way out, but doesn't have the grunt to get out fast enough to do so. A good battle, this one. Two very disparate motor cars, and interestingly, Dick Johnson, the champion from the previous year, just can't do anything about it. He can't even get into the squabble.
George Fury is 3.3 seconds behind the Alan Moffitt, Peter Stuyvesant Mazda. Peter Brock certainly is not content to be where he is, but seems not to be able to do anything about it. Back to the dice for 4th.
I think in terms of Brock, perhaps on this circuit, he wants to conserve his tyres, if anything, for a crack later in the day. McLeod on the inside. Not game to risk a panel-bending argument, or is he?
Yes, he is. No, he's not. There goes McLeod, but drops back behind as we watch Alan Moffitt onto the straight.
Quarter race distance, and that's the situation, and you can see the leaders there. The gap not very big, although Alan Moffitt out just in the last lap or so. 1.56 on Brock as we look at this dice. Again, 4th, 5th and 6th place. Cullen still 4th though.
A lot of marbles on the outside there. Not a good place for Peter McLeod to be. And Cullen's gone. Had to happen. And as he got there into the grass accelerated him into the fence. And the car he's trying to start it, and flames are firing from it. He's got it going. Here we go again. Let's see what happened. McLeod really tried to claim the corner, got forced off, but then he hooked the rear of Cullen's car. Cullen was all unsettled and had no option but to go. But watch him when he hits the grass. He accelerates into the fence. The John Lusty car, an ex-Peter Brock Holden Dealer Team 05 car, running back in the field.
And George Fury has pulled out at the end of the straight, so Alan Moffitt now, the second place behind him is Peter Brock.
There's Fury at Castrol Loop at the end of the pit straight.
All come to a finish for the Nissan Bluebird Turbo that last year here took second place to Alan Moffitt, and he finished
in the first 2 rounds of the Australian Touring Car Championship. He's been going so well, so steadily, and gaining a lot of good form. Alan Moffitt on pit straight once again.
0.76. Fourth place Johnson, 5th place Andrew Harris. Oh, that's Warren Cullen. We've been arguing over 4th. Check in the pits, back out. Car that Larry Perkins has been giving Stack some advice with. Being run on a fairly low budget.
So much so that he had to hit, threading his way through traffic rather well, coming up to lap Brian Bolwell in the Escort.
Jim Richards, incidentally, went out apparently on lap 4. We haven't seen him for a long while. And in the opening laps was in 8th place and is now up into 5th behind Johnson. The BMW mechanics say the car doesn't really seem to suit right-hand or clockwise circuits. It is, of course, a left-hand drive car, so the driver has some advantage in being on the inside, but also it helps the balance of the car. And look how hard Richards is working at the helm there.
Richards is 12.9 seconds behind.
All 24-hour race in a Porsche 956.
Peter McLeod, incidentally, is 21 seconds behind Brock in 3rd position. And he is only 2.1 seconds in front of Dick Johnson, who is 12 seconds again in front of Jim Richards in the BMW.
Are you giving me the points or not?
BMW about. The car still is not handling as well as the JPS team would like it to.
You have to say that when a man of the very modest car racing experience of Andrew Harris is giving a stir to one of the acknowledged best drivers in the country, and in fact reining him in. Richards working so hard to stay there, the second of the Kmart team cars getting into a good argument.
Alan Moffitt through Castrol Loop, and there are the results. At lap 25 with 15 remaining, Peter Brock in 2nd position. This circuit a very difficult one, especially for a newcomer like Harris, because it's so critical that you ease your power on with a big V8, or you can find yourself pointing backwards very quickly.
2 entirely different motor cars, both front engine rear-wheel drive, but the 6-cylinder fuel-injected engine in the BMW sitting out a long way forward of the axle. The axle line's at about cylinder number 5, independent rear suspension, 3.5 litres, revving very hard, and not a great deal of torque. By comparison, the big V8, piles of grunt at low revs. A very front-heavy car too, although the engine's set further back. Live rear axle, in other words, a banjo-type non-independent rear, but a pretty effective motor car. Not a great deal of refinement, but all the power and torque that you want pretty well, although a little bit less tyre wear would be a good thing. But Harris, look at him, going well through the Chikeli S's. And by contrast, a little Mazda that a lot of people see as being a sports car, certainly very low and light by comparison with the Commodore in front. Interesting at the weigh-in yesterday, the dice, Peter McLeod holding third, Johnson fourth. Johnson, of course, lying second in the championship on 46 points. Peter McLeod, who's getting close, to whom he is getting close, catching, is well down in the championship. Equal eighth with Jim Richards on 17 points. Not far in front of George Fury, who'll earn none at this round. Equal 10th with Steve Harrington on 15. So McLeod, Johnson catching. 1.2 seconds.
And Harris is through Richards, under brakes, coming down into Kodak corner. He's done it, and Richards has now got to look for a way through. But a brave passing manoeuvre by Andrew Harris. He waited quite a few laps and summed up the risk that he would be taking to take a late braking manoeuvre on Jim Richards.
Richards going again for the big sprint over the hill and down the straight, and doesn't it go? And then indeed has trouble in the corners with tyres that are just skating.
Murray Carter, the veteran, well into his 50s, is enjoying the scrap no end. That's what he goes motor racing for.
Carter now fifth.
Goes terribly wide. And the dice for third position now between Peter McLeod and the Slick 50 Mazda and Dick Johnson right behind him. That's Bernie Stack in front. The two cars behind are the ones. And Johnson now has closed up that 1 second gap, and he's after third position. He's done 31 laps. There are 9 remaining. If he's conserved his tyres, now is the time to try for it. Bit of a touch there by the looks of it. They were just on our camera cut, looking a little bit crossed up as they came through the S's. Johnson now trying it under brakes.
And you
watch out of the corner. Johnson slides. And McLeod should be faster. He should be able to go deeper under brakes into Castrol Loop.
Dick Johnson planning this quite well. The car obviously not as competitive as he would have liked, but has been looking after it, looking after the tyres. Now in a bit of a position with only about 7 laps remaining, try and grab third.
Point is, though, Will, that he can't afford too much of this flinging around or his tyres will go off. He's got to get in front of McLeod soon or he'll lose tyre condition. This time McLeod's got the gap he needs, but he's got Bernie Stack right in front of him, and that'll slow him up somewhat in the corner and give Dick Johnson the chance to close, which he does.
That's the situation after 34 laps, and Alan Moffitt's lead is now 14.4 seconds over Brock, and this argument for third place. Johnson's still fourth, but plenty left in that scrap, and Bernie Stack mucking it up somewhat. Johnson's about to be a bit forceful with him, I think. Stack gets out of the way.
0.9 of a second now between them. And it's opened up just even a little bit more there. Johnson has picked him up around the back of the circuit. He's made his demon run, and Johnson's up into third position. McLeod is challenging. 3 laps remaining. Two laps to go. Alan Moffitt has completed 38. And Dick Johnson opens just a bit of a security gap on Peter McLeod as they come up to the crest of the rise and dive down into the braking area. Alan Moffitt is up to nameless corner.
The Le Mans 24-hour race is that Peter Stuyvesant want him again to win the Australian Touring Car Championship. And he's got the car, the team, and the ability to do so as he comes to victory for the first time this year in the third round at Wanneroo Park, Western Australia, at the Australian Touring Car Championship. A great win to Alan Moffitt, a quite dominant one in car number 43, the Mazda RX-7 with the 2.6-litre swept volume, twin-chamber Wankel engine with fuel injection. Peter Brock then takes second, more than 15 seconds in arrears.
In fact, 19 seconds in arrears. Dick Johnson now swings onto the straight to take third position.